Okay, so in here is another example, okay, in slope of a line. Okay, so let us determine the slope of a line that passes through the following points. So we have four. Okay, so let us proceed first for number one. Okay, so in number one, the solution here, okay, or we need to find the slope of a line. First, let us label our given. Okay, so our given here is the x sub 1 is negative 3, y sub 1 that is negative 1, x sub 2 that is 0, and y sub 2 that is 0. Okay, so we need to find the slope of a line. So we are going to use the formula m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, and then substitute the given our formula. Okay, so y sub 2 that is 0, negative 1 that is our y sub 1, so don't forget to put a parenthesis. Okay, next x sub 2 that is 0 minus uh, negative 3. Okay, don't forget to put a parenthesis if we have a negative integer. Okay, so apply the rules of subtraction of integers, so it will become uh, m is equal to 0 plus 1 all over 0 plus 3. Okay, next, so that is equal to 0 plus 1, that is 1, and 0 plus 3, that is 1/3. So our rise is 1 and our run is positive 3. Okay, and then let us illustrate uh, it to our graph. Okay, but before that, positive slope. Okay, in here, in number 1, we got a positive slope. Okay, so illustrate natin. So we have the first point, okay, na negative 3 and negative 1. And then we have a 0, 0 for the second point. Okay? Ito yan. So let us illustrate our rise from the first point here na ito. Okay? From negative 3 and negative 1, let us count 1 upward. Okay? So that is 1 unit. Next, from where we stop, let us count 3 units to the right since we have a run na positive 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So we ended in the origin. Okay, dun sa second point. So that is our run. Okay, as you can see, if you have a positive slope, okay, our line or the graph will goes up from right to left. Okay, sorry, the line goes up from left to right. Okay, if we have a positive slope, okay, our line will goes up from left to right. Okay, next let's have number 2. So we have 2 negative 2 and negative 2 negative 1. Identify our given. That's how we identify our given. X sub 1 that is 2, y sub 2, y sub 1 is negative 2, x sub 2 is negative 2, y sub 2 is negative 1. Next, write the formula. M is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay. Next, substitute our values to our formula. So we have y sub 2 that is negative 1. And that's minus y sub 1, okay, is negative 2. So parenthesis first, negative 2, and then close it. Next, all over negative 2 is x sub 2 minus, and our x sub 1 that is positive 2. Ayun. Okay, and then apply the operations. So we have, since here, okay, applying the rule of subtraction of integers. So we have negative 1 plus 2. Okay, and the denominator here, negative 2 minus 2, that is negative 4. And then simplify it further. Okay, so we have 1 over negative 4. Okay, so our rise is 1 and our run is negative 4. And then let us illustrate this one, okay, to our graph. And by the way, okay, we got a negative slope from the number 1, we have a positive slope. Now, this time, we have a negative slope. Okay? So, let us illustrate. Okay? So, this is our graph. Okay, we have -2 and -1 and 2, -2 from our given. And then let us connect those 2 points by a line. Okay, and then let us illustrate our slope, which is our rise is 1 and -4 is our run. Okay, from the first point here to -2, okay, that is our first point. Okay, let us count 1 unit upward from this first point. Okay, 1. So that is our rise. Now, from where we stop, let us count 4 units to the left since we have a negative 4 values for the run. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we stop to our second point. Okay, and that is our run. Okay, and that's how we illustrate a slope of a line in a graph. Okay, so notice that if we have a negative slope, therefore our line goes up from right to left. Okay, if we have a negative slope, our line goes up from right to left. Okay, next, how about here? So we have 4, positive 6, and -3, 6 for our third example. Okay, first again, identify our given. Okay, next, let us write our formula, which is m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, and then substitute our values to our formula, and that is 6 minus 6. Okay, y sub 2 is 6, and our y sub 1, that is 6. And then the denominator, x sub 2 ay -3 minus, we have an x sub 1, which is 4. Okay, so apply the operation. 6 minus 6 will become 0, and -3 minus 4, it will become -7. Therefore, applying uh, the operation, 0 divided by -7 is equal to 0. Therefore, our slope here is 0. So we don't have a rise or run. So what will be our graph? Illustrating it, our graph in a Cartesian plane. Okay, here. So we have -3, 6 and +4, 6. If we connect them, we will create a horizontal line. Okay, please remember, if we have a 0 slope, okay, our graph is, or our line is horizontal. If we have a 0 slope, our line is horizontal. Okay, next, the last example. Okay, 3, -1, and 3, 3. Okay, so let us label our given. Okay, x sub 1, 3, and y sub 1 is -1. X sub 2, that is +3, and y sub 2, that is +3. And then let us substitute this given to our formula for slope, and it will become 3 minus our y sub 2, that is 3, y sub 1, that is -1, all over 3, if is x sub 2 is 3, and x sub 1 pala, sorry, x sub 1 is +3. So therefore, okay, applying the rule of subtraction, okay, of integers, so 3 minus -1, it will become 4. So 3 minus 3, it will become 0. Okay, so our slope here is undefined because we cannot divide 4 by 0. Okay, you cannot divide 4 by 0. Okay, if we got a 0 denominator, meaning to say we have an undefined answer. And our slope here is undefined. So what will be our graph if it is undefined? Okay, so let us graph. Okay, so we have 3, 3 negative 2, and 3 positive 3. Okay, if we connect them, okay, you will create a vertical line. Okay, so if we have an undefined slope, the graph is, or the line is vertical. Okay, if we have an undefined slope, the line is vertical. So let us sum it all. Okay, the line, if we our line, or if the line with is with a positive slope in this given graph here, our line is the rises from left to right, so we have a positive slope, and our trend is increasing. Next, if we have a negative slope, the line rises from right to left, or the line goes up from right to left, our slope is negative. Okay, next, if our slope is 0, okay, our line is horizontal. And lastly, if we have a slope of undefined, okay, the line is vertical.